that are absorbing the aggressive sellers, right? So one more time, when you see some aggressive sellers and the market fails to break below the fair value gap, which is down here, what this shows you is that there's more aggressive sellers than buyers, but they're not being rewarded. This shows you that the fair value gap to the upside is strong. It shows you that buyers are in control despite aggressive sellers, being aggressive in the markets, right? So they're aggressive, but they're not being rewarded. Now, the same thing happens over here. So we see price coming into this level, and this is the first trade you could have taken. I personally like to see the first tap being swept. So this first tap over here was swept over here. Now from here, we see the same thing, right? Look at what we see over here. We see a lot of aggressive selling within this region, In fact, when we go over here and look at the numbers, we read the order flow. What we read over here, some numbers that stick out to us. You don't need to read every single number. You need to read some of the key delta points at key levels. So you're not reading every single number. That would be impossible. But you're looking at some key delta that stick out to you. 56 for only 3, and then down here we had 4 for 0, and we also had 102 for 10. This is a 10x, so there's 10 times as many sellers as there are buyers. But despite that, the market failed to break below the fair value gap. Now, once we see the price action over here, what we can start to say is, okay, the fair value gap is holding. It is time to get long. Even over here, as price breaks the fair value gap, price is beginning to break above the fair value gap. But when we read some of the numbers, we read, for example, we have 79 for 12. Again, there's a lot more market participants that are aggressively selling than there are aggressively buying. And what that tells us is that when there's more aggressive sellers than buyers, the level is being held by passive buyers. So we see passive buyers that are propping up. And this is what we mean by the absorption cycle. So the absorption cycle typically occurs over about a 10-minute period. So we're seeing a lot of aggressive sellers, and a lot of aggressive sellers. They are being